Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in the What the Heck Just Happened segment. Tonight we've been reporting on the stop and frisk controversy here in New York City. Federal Judge Shira Scheindlin has put restrictions on the police program, which has driven crime down in the poor sections of the city. You had a comment on Judge Scheindlin's ruling, Bernard McGuirk and Greg Gutfeld. So, do you live in the city, Gutfeld?
Yes, I do, believe it or not.
All right. So, and McGuirk and I are longtime New Yorkers, and we remember the David Dinkins days when he was mayor, and they didn't aggressively police the poor neighborhoods. It was unbelievable violence and chaos. More than 3,000 dead every year. And now it's below 1,000 because the police flood the zones where the high crime is, all right, and they're an intimidating force on the street.
Last year, 400 murders.
Right, 400 murders. And you say about Scheindlin?
I'll say this. The interesting transformation of the city can be shown in one way, entertainment. In the 70s, you had movies like Death Wish, and you had movies like The Warriors. You can't make those movies anymore in New York because they're a fiction. They don't represent the contemporary reality of New York.
Yeah, Charles Bronson was killing people like Bernard Goetz, who actually did it in real life because there was so much crime. And now the crime here
is gone.
Not gone, but it's under control to some extent.
The idea that we are forfeiting this progress out of political correctness, because that's what it's about. It's about, again, political correctness infecting areas of our culture that make it less safe.
And you?
Well, you can't argue with the statistics. Now, obviously, if you are a young black male, you're going to be annoyed, understandably, justifiably. But the statistics say that 96%, first of all, of the victims are black and Hispanic, and the suspects, 97% of the shooters are black and Hispanic. So the cops go after those type of people. And most of the cops, by the way, are minorities, or Hispanic minorities. They're not overwhelmingly white. Look, President Obama said that if we can only save one life, we have an obligation to do it. He was talking about gun control, but I'm sure he would be consistent and say that on this topic as well.
He favors stop and frisk. You really think that Barack Obama favors stop and frisk?
You know, if he's consistent, he would. Yeah, he absolutely would.
How can you be for gun control and not this? We have the tightest gun control laws in New York City, so a law-abiding citizen cannot pack heat. However, you're against a method that gets illegal handguns off the streets. It's hypocritical.
And puts the bad guys away. All right, well, I think it's pretty overwhelming.
Well, you know, it's not just the high-crime neighborhoods. It's the whole city. You remember? It was everywhere.
Well, you know, once crime starts to spill out and then there's no policing, as there wasn't back then it goes everywhere.
But, yeah, so they're saving minority lives, Ray Kelly and Mayor Bloomberg, but they're being vilified as racist, and it's just it's a bad situation.
Well, that's the kind we live in. Okay, now, you may remember that President Obama actually took a shot at Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. All right, I want to put up on the screen what he said. The American dream involves some pretty basic stuff. I don't think people went around saying to themselves, I need to have a 10,000 square foot house that these people have. Kids weren't monitoring every day what Kim Kardashian was wearing or where Kanye West was going on vacation and thinking that somehow that was a mark of success. So it's a pretty pointed criticism of those two people. And here's what Ms. Kardashian's mother said in reply.
I wasn't aware that you could only set the bar so high and that we could only dream so big. I was taught dream big, work hard, and you could have whatever you wanted. Right? And another thing I thought was, wow, I bet the president has some friends with 10,000 square foot houses, and you probably wouldn't mind going over there, Mr. President, while you were asking them to have a party for you when you were campaigning for, you know, dollars to run for president.
All right, McGuirk.
Listen, first of all, I would rather watch a talk show hosted by the San Diego mayor than watch it by this revolting woman.
Why don't you like her? Looks like a nice woman.
These are her and her family. They're the consummate ugly Americans. If you Google the words "why they hate us," their pictures show up. Her and that freaky Frankenstein-looking husband.
But why, though? What are they doing that make people hate us?
Because she was talking about the American dream. They haven't lived the American dream. She first came into the public eye because of her association with O.J. Simpson and that circus through her husband, who she
her late husband, right?
Yes, it was an awful situation. And then the daughter, because of a sex tape. That's why they're famous, not because of some American dream.
But you're saying they didn't earn their $10,000.
They haven't worked an honest day in their lives.
And you say, Gutfeld?
I deeply deeply offended by Bernie. As you know, I was married to Kim in the 90s, and I taught Kanye how to rap. So this is a direct attack on me. We know pop culture is vacuous, vain, and stupid, but at least Kim and Kanye made their own money. They didn't make it off the government.
Off a sex tape, though, McGuirk is
But
alleged.
I'd rather have them make it off a sex tape than take it out of my taxes.
All right, I agree with President Obama. The values that these two espouse are foolish, and children should not look up to them in any way, shape, or form.
And she missed.
That's it. That's the last word.
Final word.
Bang.
I had so much to say.